and welcome to yoga. My name is Sunny and I will be your instructor today. And we're going to work on some balance today. Really important in our lives, especially as we get older, where one fall could change everything. So there are several things that help us balance. Number one is to engage your core strength so that the standing leg isn't doing all the work. And we'll talk more about that later. But distributing the work throughout the whole body is going to give you more stability and better alignment. Another thing that really helps is to keep your eyes still on something. In Sanskrit, it's known as your drishti, or your gazing point. So if you can still the eyes, you can still the body and still the mind. And the third thing that really helps is to keep breathing. Sometimes when we come into balance poses, you just, I see it a lot, where you just come into balance and kind of hang on for dear life, when if you breathe, again, you can calm the body, calm the mind, and it brings a lot of ease to your pose. So today we're going to start with Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. And we'll start with the right hand. And we're going to bring the index finger and the middle finger down toward the palm. So now I've got my thumb and my index finger pinky combination. I'm going to take my thumb and just cover my right nostril and inhale here. At the top of that inhale, switch and cover the left nostril and exhale. And we'll stay here and inhale. And switch and exhale. And we'll inhale it. Switch and exhale. And we'll breathe in. And switch and breathe out. And move at your own pace here. And we'll release that hand, and we'll let our breath come back to our usual breathing. And hopefully by breathing and letting the breath cross the midline of the body and access both parts of our brain, we'll hopefully bring more balance to the body when we get around to standing on one foot. So, as I said, one of the things that can really help our balance is those abdominal muscles that are going to help us move that work through the whole body. So we can start by coming down onto the back and reach those fingertips up overhead and reach those toes down toward the end of the mat. We'll lengthen out that spine. Then draw the knees into the chest and we can rock it side to side. Then when we're back at center, reach those fingertips up toward the ceiling as well as your toes. Then flexing the feet back toward the shins, we'll lower down. Then let's float right above the mat. And we'll draw the knees into the chest again. Then reach toward the ceiling. If you want to add on to this, Lift the head and shoulders. If you want to add some more, tip your tailbone up. And when you're ready to lower, flex those feet and lower down. Hover right above the mat and we'll draw the knees in. And we'll reach. Take the variation that you like best and lower down. Hover and draw in. And we'll reach up. Lift the head and shoulders, lift the tailbone, and float on down. And let's take 2 more rounds. So you can take this as light or as deep as you'd like. And 1 more time. And we'll lower and hover, and we'll take the knees in, and we can roll up and down. Till we roll up to balance. And if that was fun, you can take it again. And let's take 1 more time. And bring your hands to the heart. And take it to the right. And up to center. And we'll twist to the left. And up to center. 1 more big breath. And we'll come on down to seated. And let's keep warming up the whole body. So with that inhale, we'll reach out and up. And let's exhale that right hand to the mat and lengthen out. And we'll inhale to center and exhale it over. And let's take it up. And right hand to the left knee and we'll twist. And lengthen. And twist the other way. And we'll take it up. Hands behind the back. Fingertips are going to face in toward your hips and lengthen out the front. And walk it up to center and fold over. And we'll walk it back up. And let's switch up the cross of the legs. And we'll inhale. And exhale it. And we'll lengthen. And take it to the other side. And we'll lengthen. And take our twist. And lengthen at center. And twist the other way. And we'll take it up. Hands behind the back, fingertips toward the hips, and lengthen out the front. And walk it up, and fold over. And we'll walk it back up. And let's move on down to our hips. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. We can walk those sitting bones forward if there's room and your hips allow for that. And we'll sit tall and tip forward. This is optional. You can sit tall and keep that spine long if this is where your hips prefer to be. Or you can take it forward. And you can change your mind. If you came forward and you wish you were still sitting up, come back up to seated. And we'll all make our way back to center. And let's extend the right leg. We'll bring that left foot in. If it doesn't make it to the thigh because of a knee thing, you can bring it down lower if you need to. We're going to energize through that heel, up through the toes, and we'll sit tall and take a twist. and fold right over. And it doesn't matter how far this goes. And with our next inhale, let's rise up. We'll reach out and up. And let's take that spine the other direction as we twist. And we'll release that twist and let's switch up legs. And we'll lengthen through the spine. We'll take a twist and fold right over. And with that inhale, let's take it up. We'll reach out and up and twist it the other way. And we'll let that twist go. And let's extend both legs out to a wide angle. And we'll sit tall. And just tip forward. Wherever you end up is okay with me. You can take it as low as you'd like. You can keep it as tall as you'd like. You can come somewhere in between. And with our inhale, we'll lift back up and bring those legs together and shake them out. Wiggle the toes and roll out the ankles. Then we'll bring those feet in and let's roll on over to hands and knees. And we'll just rock the hips side to side. And we'll bring it back to center. Now, this one, not very many people like. So if you're not a fan of this next one, you are not alone. And if it makes you feel any better, we're not here for very long. I'm gonna tuck my toes and come back to a kneeling position. And you'll wanna make sure you have your pinky toe included, because sometimes they don't make it all the way into this pose. But you will feel more release through the outer edges of the feet if that pinky toe is included. And just notice how this feels into the arch of the foot, up into the balls of the feet. If you notice it in your heels at all, just see where you feel sensation. Then we'll bring it forward and roll out your ankles and wiggle your toes. Then we'll tuck our toes, lift those hips up and back, and come into our first downward facing dog. So you get to move around however you want, whatever starts to lengthen out and wake up the body. Finding your strength and your length. Then let's lower the knees down to the mat. Come on back to child's pose. And you can keep the tops of the feet on the mat if you would like, or you can keep the toes tucked. That one's up to you. Then with that inhale, we'll bring it forward again. We'll tuck the toes if they're not already like that and lift those hips up and back. And with that inhale, let's lift the heels and exhale them down. And we'll inhale it up and exhale it down. And one more time, inhale it up. Exhale it down, and we'll lower the knees back to child's pose. Then we'll inhale forward again. Tuck the toes, lift those hips. And we'll walk it to the front of the mat. And let's roll on up. Then, what I have here is a lacrosse ball. But if you don't have one of these handy, you can use a tennis ball. Or, if you ever have cases of plantar fasciitis, this is a really good one. Take a water bottle, fill it with water, throw it in the freezer. When it gets solid, you can roll your feet out on that nice, cold, solid water bottle. And it starts to release the fascia, which is the part of the plantar fasciitis. And you get rid of the inflammation because you've got that ice and it's nice and cold. So I've got a lacrosse ball. I'm going to do the same thing with my feet. I'm going to start with my right one because that's my dominant side. I tend to use this foot more, even though I don't realize I'm doing it, but I do. So take your lacrosse ball or your tennis ball or your frozen water bottle, and we'll just start to roll out the foot. And we don't have to dig deep on this one yet, because first we're just going to find that release. Then we can start to see what lies beneath there. And I have a tendency to just want to dig into my arch and stay there. But you want to make sure you get all the way up to the ball of the foot, all through that outer edge of the foot that we talked about earlier, into that heel, up to the toes, and of course into that arch. Now you can spend as much time doing this as you would like. I usually have a lacrosse ball in my bag for just such an occasion. If you ever wear high heels or you spend a lot of time on your feet at all, this is a great thing to do whenever you think of it. So I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this because it's a really boring video that way. But once you get that rolled out, we're going to balance into that right foot. So you can have your hands at heart center, or you can bring the arms out to a T if this helps balance become more accessible, and just pick up that left foot and see what it feels like to stand on that right foot. Then for a little comparison, we'll set it down, shift to the left foot that we haven't rolled out yet, and pick up that right foot. And you may notice a difference. You may see I'm a little more wobbly on this side. So we'll set that one down and let's take it to the other foot. And again, we want to make sure we get all the surface area of the sole of that foot. Out to the edge, up to the toes, into the arch, back all the way to the heel. Oh, and if you find any little crunchies in there, feel free to just stay there, breathe. Breathing makes everything easier. And we'll find that release. So again, you can spend as much time as you want on this foot. And we're going to pretend like I did that the same amount of time as I did the right foot. So now let's shift the weight to that left foot. We'll take the right foot up and see if we notice a difference now that we've rolled that out. And we'll set that down and we'll take it back to our first side. And we'll set that down. And if one side feels different from the other, that's okay. Hopefully by the end of the practice, we'll have balanced it out a little bit more, but it's always going to start off a little different from one side to the other. So let's step up to the front of the mat if we're not already there, and we'll inhale it up. And exhale, fold. And we'll step right back to our plank pose, lower the knees, and return to that kneeling position with the toes tucked. And see if it's a little more palatable now that we've rolled the feet out. Hopefully it is. And we'll take another breath. And we'll bring it forward again. Let's roll out the ankles and wiggle the toes. Then let's just slide that right foot forward. And let's shift the hips toward the front edge of the mat. And let's inhale to rise up. And we'll come to a crescent lunge, lifting the heart. And we'll take another breath. And we'll exhale it down. Then shift the hips back, float the front toes up. And let's lengthen out the back of the leg. And we'll bring it forward again. Tuck the back toes and lift that back knee. This is my favorite game. It's called Without a Sound on the Mat. Pick up your front foot and step it back to plank. Then we'll lift those hips back to down dog. Then let's slide that left foot forward, and we'll lower that back knee and shift the hips toward the front edge of the mat. And let's inhale it up. And we'll take another breath. And we'll exhale it down and shift those hips back, float the front toes up. And find that length through the back of the leg. And we'll bring it forward. Plant those hands. We'll lift the back knee. Without a sound on the mat, pick up that front foot, step it back to plank. And lift the hips back to down dog. And let's walk it to the front of the mat. And we'll roll on up. Then we're kind of ready to balance. So we found those abs at the beginning of our practice. In yoga, we use the abs that are called locks. This is Uddiyana Bandha. So this is essentially the navel coming in and up. So with the abs engaged here, we're going to move that breath into our rib cage. So you can feel the rib cage expand with the inhales. Then the other lock is that lift from the pelvic floor. So engaging Mula Bandha, we'll lift up, then bring the navel in and up, Uddiyana Bandha. So we can already feel the strength and the energy moving through our body. Then we're going to start nice and simple. We're just going to take that right foot up. Then we'll reach it forward. Bring it back to center and reach that foot toward the back wall. And you can reach those fingertips forward. And warrior 3. And with that next inhale, we'll bring it up to center and we'll set that down. And we'll take it to the other side. So, engaging the bandhas, Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha, still breathing to expand that rib cage. Find your drishti, find something to keep your eyes still, and take that left foot up. Then when you found your stability, reach it forward. Back through center and reach it toward the wall behind you. Fingertips can reach forward. We're still breathing. And whenever you're done, inhale it to center and set it down. And we'll shake that out. So that was our Warrior 3. It's a great way to see exactly what's going on in your body because we've added some movement to that. So you can really start to see what the hips, what your standing leg is doing, what your shoulders are up to as you extend the arms. So then we're ready to try another one. This is tree pose. And generally speaking, this is about the hip. This is all about your hip opener, which is why you can have so many variations of this and you're still doing tree pose, I promise. So we're just gonna start by opening up that right hip because that's what this pose is all about. Then I'm gonna check in with my hips because if I'm sinking into that standing hip, that makes balance harder. So I'm gonna level off my hips. I automatically felt my abs engage a little bit. So then we'll activate those bandhas, get a little taller, and you can walk that foot up to the calf. You can keep it on the floor and you can keep working that hip opener. So you decide where your foot is gonna be. If you'd like to take it further, skip the knee. Knees do not like to go sideways, and bring your foot to the inner thigh. And then again, we'll add the shoulders to it. If your shoulders do not want to extend all the way up like that, you can come into cactus arms. Ha ha ha, and whenever you're done, we'll take the knee forward and set it down. And we'll come to the other side. Now this hip might be totally different. It is for me. I'm not projecting that on you. I'm just saying it might be. So we'll start with the hip opener. Check in with the hips. And again, you can stay right here. Make your tree pose about that hip. You can add on by bringing the foot to the calf. You can take it further by bringing the foot to the thigh. And decide where your hands are going to be most helpful in this pose. And when you are done with tree, we're just going to take that knee forward and set it down. And let's shake out the legs. And we'll step it to the front. Again, if you're not already there, let's inhale it up. Exhale it down. We'll step right back to our plank and lift those hips back. And with that next couple of breaths, we'll walk it forward again. And let's roll on up. Then we can come into balance again, this time focusing a little more attention on the quads as well as the front hip flexors. So we're going to just pick up that right foot, then line the knees up, and I'm going to reach for my ankle. Here, I'll turn so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to reach for my ankle. I'm going to flex my foot back. That's going to keep my knee nice and stable. And I'm going to get long. And if you're happy like this, stay like this because you can feel that quad release. If you want to, you can bring it forward. And again, whenever you're done with this pose, just inhale it up and exhale it right down. Then we'll take it to that other side. I'm just going to start by finding that strength in my standing leg. I'm going to find my drishti. I'll float that knee up. Then you can line it up and reach for the ankle. When you've got your ankle, flex your foot, and we'll take that extension through the opposite arm. And if you're in the mood, you can tip forward, lifting the heart. And when you're done, we'll take it up to center and set it right back down. And making our way to the front, we'll inhale it up, exhale it down. We'll plant those hands and step back to our plank and lift those hips back to down dog. And we'll take one more breath. And we'll lower the knees to the mat and come on back to child's pose. And we'll give ourselves a little break. And with our next breath, let's come on up. We'll roll onto one hip and let's take the legs forward. And then I'm going to bring my right foot flat on the mat. And I'm going to see if there's about a hand's width distance between my left knee and the inside of my right foot. And we'll inhale to sit tall. Turn your heart toward your knee. And you can bring the hand to the knee or the elbow to take that twist. If you happen to notice your knee coming toward the midline of the body, straighten it up again. And we'll let that twist happen at our spine rather than in our hips. And we'll release that and extend both legs. And we'll take this left foot and we'll bring it flat on the mat. Again, I want about a hand's width distance between my knee and my foot. And we'll lengthen that spine first. And we'll twist toward that bent knee, keeping some awareness in that knee, which we want up toward the ceiling. And with that next breath, we'll unravel that twist. We'll extend both legs and we'll scooch it up to the front of the mat. And we'll extend the arms. We'll take a breath in and we'll start to lower down. Halfway there, let's take another breath. And we'll exhale all the way down to the mat. And again, let's reach our fingertips up overhead. Reach our toes down toward the end of the mat. We'll take that big breath in. And we'll bring the knees into the chest and rock it side to side. Then when you're back at center, release the arms, stack the knees right on top of your hips, and rock it side to side again. Then again, when you're at center, we'll bring the feet flat on the mat, taking them as wide as the mat, and rock the knees side to side. And when you're at center, we'll reach the fingertips toward the ceiling. Let the arms bend to clasp the elbows, and we'll take the arms to the right and the knees to the left. And we'll inhale it up and exhale it over. And we'll rock it side to side. And we'll give one more twist for that spine. And up to center. And release the arms. Extend the legs down the mat. We'll take a big breath in. And exhale it completely. And just let yourself sink into the mat. Allow yourself to be fully supported by the earth. And just give yourself a few minutes to breathe and rest and absorb all of your good work. And let your breath deepen with the next inhale. And we'll start to move around again. And when you're ready, roll over to your right side. And we'll take one more breath in transition. And help yourself up. And we'll come to any comfortable seated pose you'd like. And let's breathe in together one more time and we'll complete our practice. With our inhale, we'll reach out and reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Bow towards your heart, honoring yourself, honoring each other, and honoring the practice. Namaste. Oh, thanks so much for standing on one foot with me. And you know, you don't have to go through all of the details that we went through. If you happen to be standing around brushing your teeth, pick up one foot. If you're standing in line at the grocery store 6 feet away, stand on one foot. You get better at it the more you do it. So Throw it in whenever you think of it. Roll out your feet whenever you think of it. Do some ab work whenever you think of it. So, as always, stay healthy, stay fit, and go Pokes.